Gather round, all you hoary, gather round and hear my story. When a man grows old and his balls go cold and the tip of his knob turns blue, and it's bent in the middle like a one-string fiddle, he can tell you a tale or two. So pull up a chair and stand me a drink, and a tale to you I'll tell of Dead-Eye Dick and Mexican Pete and a whore named Eskimo Nell. Now when Dead-Eye Dick and Mexican Pete go forth in search of fun, it's usually Dick who wields the prick and Mexican Pete the gun. And when Dead-Eye Dick and Mexican Pete are sore, depressed and mad, it's mainly cunt that bears the brunt, so the shooting ain't too bad. Now Dead-Eye Dick and Mexican Pete had been working Dead Man's Creek, and they'd had no luck in the way of a fuck for nigh on half a week, just a moose or two and a caribou and a bison cow or so. And since Dead-Eye Dick's was the king of pricks, he found this fucking slow. So, do or dare, this horny pair set forth for the Rio Grande, Dead-Eye Dick with his muscular prick and Pete with gun in his hand. They blazed away on their randy trail, no man their path withstood, and many a bride her husband's pride knew pregnant widowhood. They made the strand of the Rio Grande at the height of a blazing noon, and to slake their thirst and do their worst they sought Black Mike's saloon. Came crashing in with doors a-swing, both prick and gun flashed free. According to sex, you poxy wrecks, you drinks or fucks with me. Now they knew the fame of our hero's name from the Horn to Panama, and with nothing worse than a muttered curse those cowhands sought the bar. And the women too his habits knew, down on the Rio Grande, so 40 whores whipped down their drawers at Dead-Eye Dick's command. They saw the fingers of Mexican Pete twitch on the trigger grip. 'Twas death to wait, at a fearful rate those whores began to strip. Now Dead-Eye Dick was breathing quick, with lecherous snorts and grunts, as 40 arses were bared to view, to say nothing of 40 cunts. Now 40 arses and 40 cunts, you'll see if you use your wits, and a pretty slick at arithmetic makes exactly 80 tits. 80 tits is a gladsome sight to a man with a mighty stand. It might be rare in Berkeley Square, but not on the Rio Grande. Dick backed to the door. The number one whore could see in the chandelier's prism as he sprang through the air, his bollocks all bare, and sprayed her with his jism, his phallic limb in fighting trim as he backed and took a run. He made a dart at the nearest tart and scored a hole in one. He bored the whore to the sandy floor and fucked her deep and fine, and though she grinned, it put the wind up the other 39. When Dead-Eye Dick lets loose his prick, he's got no time to spare, for with speed and length combined with strength, he fairly singes his hair. So Dead-Eye Dick, he fucks them quick, and flinging the first aside, he's making a grin at the second quim, and the swing doors opened wide. Then there entered into that hall of sin, yes, into that harlot's hell, a lusty maid who was unafraid, and her name was Eskimo Nell. By this time Dick had got his prick well into number 2, when Eskimo Nell lets out a yell and says to him, "Hey, you!" A hefty lout, he turned about, both knob and face were red. The dexterous flick of his muscular prick, the whore flew over his head. With a lustful leer, he said, "Look here, just get into the queue. I've got a mate with 38 before I get to you." But Eskimo Nell, she stood it well, looked him in the eyes. With utter scorn she scanned the horn that rose from his hairy thighs. She blew a puff from her cigarette onto his steaming knob. So utterly beat was Mexican Pete, he forgot to do his job. It was Eskimo Nell who broke the spell in accents calm and cool. "You cunt-struck shrimp of a Yankee pimp, do you call that thing a tool? If this here town can't take that down," she sneered to the cowering whores, "there's one little cunt that can do the stunt, but it's Eskimo Nell's, not yours." She shed her garments one by one with an air of conscious pride, till at last she stood in her womanhood, and they saw the great divide. It's fair to state it was not so great, but it had a solid rim. Viewed from without, it left no doubt of the tensile strength within. She seized herself on a tabletop where someone had left a glass. With a twitch of her tits she crushed it to bits with the cheeks of her muscular arse. She flexed her knees with supple ease and spread her legs apart. With a final nod to the randy sod, she gave him the cue to start. But Dickie knew a trick or two, and meant to save his powers, for if he'd a mind he could grind and grind for a couple of fucking hours. So Dead-Eye Dick, with his kingly prick, prepared to take his time, for a miss like this was fucking bliss, so he staged a pantomime. He winked his arsehole in and out, and made his balls inflate. They looked like a couple of granite knobs on top of a garden gate. He rubbed his foreskin up and down. His knob increased in size. His mighty prick grew twice as thick and almost reached his eyes. He polished the rod with rum and gob to make it steaming hot. And to finish the job he sprinkled the knob with a cayenne pepper pot. But neither did he take a run, nor did he take a leap, nor did he stoop, but made a swoop, and a steady forward creep. He took his sight as a gunman might along that fearsome tool, and the dead slow glide as it slid inside was calculating, cool. Have you seen the massive pistons on the mighty CPR? The driving force of 1,000 horse? Well, you know what pistons are. Or you think you do if you've yet to view the power that drives that prick, or the work that's done on a non-stop run by a man like Dead-Eye Dick. But Eskimo Nell was an infidel, as good as a whole harem, with the strength of 10 in her abdomen and her Rock of Ages beam. Amidship, she could stand the rush like the flush of a water closet. She gripped his cock like the Chatswood lock on the National Safe Deposit. She lay for a while with a subtle smile, the grip of her cunt grew keener. Then, giving a sigh, she sucked him dry with the ease of a vacuum cleaner. She performed this feat in a way so neat as to set at complete defiance the primary cause and the basic laws that govern all sexual science. She calmly rode through the phallic code that for years had stood the test, the accepted schools of established schools, and a second or two went west. And so, my friends, we approach the end of this copulative epic. The effect on Dick was sudden and quick, and akin to anaesthetic. He slipped to the floor and knew no more, his passions extinct and dead. He didn't shout as his tool fell out, he was fairly stripped of thread. Then Mexican Pete, he sprang to his feet to avenge his pal's affront. With a jarring jolt of his blow-nosed Colt, he rammed it up her cunt. He shoved it out to the trigger guard and fired it twice times 3. But to his surprise, she rolled her eyes and sighed in ecstasy. Said Eskimo Nell, "You've rung my bell, I'm ready to explode." "Oh, Pete, my sweet, can you repeat?" said he, "I've shot my load." She rose to her feet with a smile so sweet, and "Bully," she said, "for you. I might have guessed that'd be the best you Yankee simps could do. When next you're friend and you intend to sally forth for fun, get Dead-Eye Dick a sugar stick and buy yourself a bun." "Thought you jokes could give me the works," she said, in accents cool. "I guess I must go to the land of snow to find a man with a tool. I'm going forth to the frozen north where the pricks are hard and strong. That is the land of the all-night stand. The nights are 6 months long. It's hard as tin when you stick it in the land where spunk is spunk. Not a trickling stream of lukewarm cream, but a solid, frozen chunk. That is the land where they understand what it means to copulate, where even the dead sleep 2 in a bed and the infants masturbate. Yes, I'm going forth to the frozen north where a hawk can do no wrong, where the Arctic blizzard sticks deep in your gizzard like 14 inches of dong. Back again to men to the Terra Bellicum. It's there I'll spend my worthy end, for the north is calling. Come!" So Dead-Eye Dick and Mexican Pete slunk out from the Rio Grande. Dead-Eye Dick with his knackered prick, and Pete with no gun in his hand. But in the land of the grinding gland, where the walrus plays with his prong, where the polar bear wanks off in his lair, that's where they'll sing this song. They'll tell this tale on the Arctic trail, where the nights are 60 below. Where it's so damn cold, French letters are sold wrapped up in a bowl of snow. In the valley of death with bated breath, it's there they'll sing it too, where the skeletons rattle in sexual battle and the mouldering corpses screw.